So one could say that this realm, meaning this experience, what we are experiencing, is the dream, the manifestation, and experiencing the dream, experiencing the manifestation is not ignorance. Ignorance is imagining, believing, perceiving that this realm, this phenomenal realm, is the reality of our experience. In doing so, we overlook the real. And we waste this valuable opportunity with this life. Because this life is your invitation to realize the self, to awaken to what you truly are. Meaning to awaken from the belief that what is real in your experience is what you are experiencing. In the contemplation of what is real, you may come to the understanding that the reality of your experience is not in what is perceived or what is experienced. Rather, it is in the awareness, in the consciousness, in the formless realm, which is not a relative realm, but the absolute realm. In everything that you do, in everything that you think, in everything that you pursue, in everything that you avoid, you are seeking happiness. You are seeking the peace and the bliss of the self. But as long as you are still in the illusion of the personal self, the happiness that is your right is veiled to you. Your experience in ignorance is personal and limited. And given that the bliss of the self is impersonal and limitless, the personal and the limited personal self has no access to it. So any pursuit or any avoidance that is inspired by the person, by the personal self, by the me, is just a spin given that it's at its root, it has the limitation of the personal perspective. The body is not what is real. The mind is not what is real. The world is not what is real. When you look at them, when you look at the body, when you look at the world, when you look at thoughts, and you look really, really closely, not conceptually, when you look very intimately, you will find that you are looking at nothing, that it's completely empty, that what you are perceiving, in fact, is not a something, it is the nothingness of the self, the emptiness of beingness. At the mind level, when we hear that reality is empty, we imagine that's a big loss, because there is the belief that it is things, experiences, and things that are valuable. In fact, all things and all experiences are limited, and they are of limited value. And you can amass a zillion things, a zillion experiences. They are still limited, and you are still experiencing a limited value. But happiness and the bliss of the self, if it is limited, of what good is it? Because at some point or the other, sooner or later, you will reach that outer limit, and then you will find yourself beyond the happiness and the bliss of the self, in the unhappiness that is beyond the limitation of the experience. What is absolute is limitless. And emptiness, the nothingness of presence, of awareness, is limitless. It is not an empty nothingness. It is a limitless nothingness. So the term nothingness itself loses its meaning when it comes to the expression of the absolute. Because in the absolute reality of the self, there are no opposites. So nothingness as opposed to what? Given that there are no opposites, then there is not even nothingness. So it's nothingness that is very particular. It's a nothingness that has no opposite. And this nothingness that has no opposite is absolute, is what we refer to as happiness, freedom and happiness, the bliss of the self. The nature of reality is absolute. There's no opposite, no borders. And the contemplation of your experience, the direct, going directly to your experience, will reveal to you the borderless presence, will reveal to you the absoluteness of presence. And that revelation is culminates in the dissolution of the impression of personal limitation, the dissolution of the impression of happiness that is due to a certain cause, that is due to a certain experience or to a certain event. There is an end to this journey. It is not an endless journey. And the end of this journey is the end of the impression of separation, the end of the impression of being a person that is subject to conditions, that is subject to events. There is a completeness to this journey. So all your partial understandings, they build upon each other to bring you to this completeness. So it is important that you pursue your inquiry, that you pursue contemplation and your questioning into this impression of personal experience. What makes your experience personal? You have to look at that question and bring it up to yourself, and bring it up in our relationship here, and bring it up whichever way you can, until you come to complete clarity, and that clarity permeates your entire being about the impersonal nature of consciousness. Because a happiness that is personal is not the real happiness. It has to go beyond that. So I welcome your questions. Hello, Maria. You're right. What is the difference between meditation and contemplation? There is no difference between meditation and contemplation as long as there is no meditator and no contemplator. When meditation and contemplation are, whichever way you refer to these terms, and of course meditation and contemplation have to do with an interest in truth. At least the way I'm using these terms. So when your meditation or contemplation, whichever term you use, is inspired by your interest in truth and eventually your love for truth, then they are one and the same. Because whatever activity you engage in as a result of your love and your interest for truth, and that is looking in that direction, is looking in the direction of awakening to truth, is looking in the direction of inquiring into the beliefs, into the feelings. But it's not an interest in feeling better. It's not an interest in improving your personal life, but an interest in truth, which may result in your life being better, which may result in feeling better. We don't know. Whichever activity you undergo as a result of your interest and love for truth will be a correct activity that is looking in the right direction, because it's looking in the direction of awakening to truth or realizing the illusory from the real. So I would say that whatever is imbued with your love for truth is meditation/contemplation. It could be sitting silently, looking out the window, or going for a walk, or reading some of the scriptures, or listening to satsang, or coming to satsang, or listening to a YouTube video, or just looking at, reflecting about the teachings, the Dharma. Whichever form your love and your interest in truth takes, you can call that meditation or contemplation. It doesn't matter. So the I use the term meditation and contemplation is contemplating or looking or inquiring or whatever activity you engage in that are a result of your love for truth. And it takes various forms depending on a variety of things, depending on where are you at in your journey. It could be chanting mantras, it could be doing yoga, or you could be just sitting silently, or you could be doing zazen, or you could be in satsang. What matters is that you take good care of your interest and your love for truth, that you don't give it a second hand seat or second seat. You don't give it a back seat, because if you put in the front seat your job, your family, your relationship, your feelings, your money, it will ensnare you. It will distract you away from what matters most, which is to make a full good usage of the gift that has been given to you, which is your hearing the Dharma, which is your interest in awakening, your interest in truth. So at some point in your contemplation, at some point in your journey, you will arrive to rather than doing contemplation or meditation, you will arrive to being meditation. But anyways, that's not what your question was, so I don't need to continue with that. Okay, Maria, you're right. Thank you. It's very clear for me now. Okay, good.
Yes, Mahdi?
Yes, Maria, I hear you.
Yes, thank you. It is the sense of feeling like I need to find more ground on a daily basis, like some kind of a discipline that would allow me to have that love for truth in the forefront and not in the back burner, like you say, because I do find myself get ensnared or swept away by daily, occurrences that happening around me. And so if you could help offer maybe suggestions, is how to find that grounding.
You know, if and when you put your interest in truth in the background, then you will experience unhappiness. You will experience some form of suffering, some form of conflict, some form of confusion. And in a way that in itself is a calling. It's calling you to return to your contemplation. Whenever we experience suffering, unhappiness, or confusion, we're experiencing that as a personal self. Meaning, at the moment that we go to being a me, my story, my life, the continuity of existence in time and space, we are going to experience unhappiness and confusion. Irrespective of how much money, wealth, success, or failures there are in your life, you will be experiencing unhappiness. You need to develop this sensitivity to the unhappiness. And once you notice the unhappiness, rather than trying to find the happiness or fixing the problem in the world, in the relationship, in the work, in your whatever situation is arising for you, you need to notice that at that very moment, you have separated yourself from the self. That you have at that very moment perceived and imagined, and therefore you are feeling yourself to be a person that is subject to conditions, that is subject to certain situations, and you will feel and experience that indeed, yes, you are a person that is subject to the situations, and you will suffer. The suffering is so convincing, and that it is a personal suffering, that it will, in a way, one of the side effects is that you will feel more of a person, that you need to do more personal effort. You need to do some other form of strategy. You need to do something as a person to solve your personal problem. And so, in fact, when you are exerting whatever activity, whatever effort in order to solve your personal problems, in fact, you are reinforcing the personal impression in your life, and therefore you are deepening and widening the personal unhappiness and suffering. On the other hand, when you turn your attention to what you are not seeing, what you are not experiencing, when you turn your attention to the belief that you are experiencing some personal problems or some personal experience, and you ask yourself, you inquire, you contemplate, you meditate on what is this person that is experiencing these personal problems. It is not about denying, about saying, well, there is no person, well, there is no person, so all that is illusion. It's not at all about that. You need to look directly at, okay, what is the person that is experiencing a personal problem? Because in fact, you are experiencing a personal situation, a personal problem. So where is the person? When you look for that person, you will find that the person is thoughts and sensations. You will find that the person is a movement in the mind. It's some sort of mind activity. It's a series of images and thoughts and feelings and resistances and argumentation. It's this whatever, a series of thoughts and sensations. There's the thoughts and sensations. Within them, they have in them that the script within the thoughts and the sensation. The script is that you are a person and you're experiencing a personal problem. And there is somebody else who is the cause of your problem. All of that is in the script of thoughts and sensations. You need to be clear that the script that is inside the thoughts and the sensation is complete nonsense. It is thought that is completely drugged and drunk. These thoughts are drugged and drunk, and the person that they allude to within the thought is not what you are, because you are that perceives the thought. Therefore, you cannot be that is inside the thought. And when the thought says you need to try harder, you need to find a good meditation, you need to find a good practice, you need to find a good method around those problems in your life, that thought is referring to a you, is telling you what you are and what you need to do, what you should do, or what hopefully you can do. But the you that the thought is referring to is not what you are. So when thought says, oh, you need to find a good method, who is this you within that thought is talking about? I have no freaking idea, because I know what I am. I am the perceiver of the thought. So the person that is within the thought, when you mistake yourself, or when you agree that you are this person within the thought, then you will perceive that there are certain methods that you need to find, that there are something you need to do. You will perceive that. And you will be looking everywhere for what is it that I need to do. But the I that is looking is the I of the thought, the I in the thought. So I cannot speak to an illusory I. I cannot tell the imaginary Maria, okay, Maria, do 5 Holy Mary and do 10 genuflections and do 10 prostrations and sing Shiva's name and repeat this and that mantra. You will find teachers that will tell you that, and there's nothing wrong with that. But that is not the path that I encourage you to follow. That is not the path that I'm pointing to. I am speaking to it's real. How could I speak? Why would I speak at this point to an illusory somebody? I can only the real can speak to the real. And there is only one real, which is consciousness. So consciousness is speaking to itself right now and is saying, what am I but that? What am I? What else am I but that? Now, having said all that, in your life, whenever you're experiencing a personal difficulty or something in life that is pulling you away, don't fight it. Don't seek anything else but what is. Don't go against anything, because any movement that is trying to go somewhere is a false movement. Love is absolute. It's not trying to go anywhere. It's just shining effortlessly. There isn't a doer to the love. Love is. So in the situation in your life that happen, you need to relax your argumentation. The body level. Be open to whatever sensations arise for you. Let the sensation be. Allow them to have their complete freedom. Remain unknowing. When you notice yourself thinking about yourself, notice the noticing. That the noticing has no noticer. And the noticing is an openness. It has no personal intention. Meet everything that you do, everything that arises for you, with your complete openness, without any personal interest or any personal agenda. Be like the wide open sky. If it's raining, allow the rain. If it's shiny, allow the shine, the shininess. Beware of judging yourself and judging others. Because in judgment, whether we're judging ourselves or others, which includes regretting, and wishing things were otherwise. Within that is the me. That is the me, actually. It is the resistance, the judgment, the wishing, the hoping. There is love in everything. There's a beautiful chipmunk right here, yeah. And recognize the love. Love has no personal intention. In your relationship with others, do not be judgmental. Give the benefit of the doubt to everybody and to everything. Invite within yourself the recognition that everything is in the nothingness and not in having. It's not about having anything or having any experience or having any situation, because the having and the possessing and the wanting has the illusory me within it. Welcome everything as God's grace. God's hand is in everything. Invite yourself to recognize that and do not hold on to any forms or any objects. There is an abundance, infinite abundance, and that abundance is like the abundant light of the sunshine. Let it be. It knows what it is doing. Your business is not to get in the way and to remain as best as you can as that openness. There is nothing personal. Look deeper and deeper at that there is nothing personal. It's just a thought that's arising. It's the party pooper, the spoiler, the thought that arises about a personal, about a person, that things are personal, is the spoiler. No fun to have a spoiler around. Okay. Okay, Maria, you're welcome. Okay, there was a question from Anne. Hello, Anne.
Hi, Magdi. Hi, Magdi. May
Yes.
I ask something about that last topic you discussed with Maria that came
Sure.
up? Because what about, I mean, personal thoughts come up all the time. So, for instance, I'm going to go and see my stepdaughter today, or it might be a good idea to colour my hair this colour, and I usually follow those thoughts.
Okay.
And do them. Is that, and if I didn't, would I be resisting?
Yeah, good question. Now the thought arises, I would like to go visit my niece or whatever. Or maybe it's been a long time I haven't visited my niece. It's probably, it would be nice and proper maybe to visit her or to write her an email, whatever. So this thought arises. What makes this thought personal?
I don't know. I don't think about it. It's just that because you were saying if you have a thought, oh, I need a discipline, I need a meditation, I can't decide. And I've been thinking this quite a lot. I can't decide between.
Let me then clarify. Maybe I didn't express myself clearly. When there is a within thought, there is a, or let me say it differently. There is the belief that I am a man or a woman, I'm a person, that I'm born, yes?
Yeah.
That belief is a thought, maybe even a bundle of thoughts, but it's a thought that has not been examined. It's been taken on. Like a few hundred years ago, people took on the thought that the earth was flat. And it was a belief because it was a thought that was not examined. So there are thoughts that we take on, in particular, the I thought, that I am born, is a thought that I am the body, that I am this person, I am this image, I am this form, is a belief. And it's a belief because it's a thought that has not been examined. Once we have accepted this belief, it is as if we have put on purple glasses. We've put everything that we perceive will be purple, will be tainted with the lens that we have put on.
So not a real reality, like a virtual reality.
Yeah, you could say, but we will experience that there is an external world, it's very real, and there is an internal consciousness within this body that is very real, that this body is very real, and that is very, so our experience is affected by our belief. And everything that we perceive, every thought that arises, every feeling that arises, there is the I thought. There is this belief. There's an infection, like a virus affects your entire body.
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean, yeah.
So everything that you perceive, that you conceive, that you feel, has that the personal self.
Yeah, like a psychosomatic condition.
Right. So the thoughts, all the thoughts that arise that refer to me, to refer to I, they refer to I, the person. So when the thought comes up that I would like to visit my my niece, it's referring to I, the person. So there is not just the thought that I would like to visit my niece, it would be nice to see my niece, but there is also a small script. I am this person. So it was when I say, you know, gee, I would love to finish this job. There is the thought of expressing the interest to finish this task, but there is also a small script in there. I am the person. I am a person.
Yeah.
So there is in all our thinking, there is the thought itself, which is, gee, this is a really beautiful day, but there is a small script. I am a person. Oh, wow, you know, China just, the stock market just in China just dropped by 200, whatever it is, you know. There is also the small script, I am a person. Oh, it'd be nice to have some soup tonight. I'm going to cook some soup tonight. There is also the small script, I am the person.
Right. So it's in all thought.
It's in all thoughts, in all perceptions, in all sensations. Yeah. And it's exhausting. Because within I am the person, there is also the internal contradiction. There is the unhappiness of I am the person, which is in complete contradiction with our true nature, which is complete happiness. So coming back to your question of the thought that I would like to visit my niece, is that a personal thought? Should I not have that? Should I not pursue that thought? No, I'm not saying do not visit your niece. What I'm saying is you need to contemplate the belief that I am a person. The thought is always referring to I as a person. You need to contemplate. Is this true? Am I the person that thought says I am, or I am the knowingness of that thought? Am I awareness, consciousness, or am I that script within the thought that says I'm a person? Yeah. It doesn't matter whether you visit your niece or you don't visit your niece. You can refrain from doing all activities. You can go to the Himalaya in a cave and sit and says, I am not going to do any, I'm not going to follow any thought for the next 500 years. You will not awaken. For the next 50,000 years, you will not awaken. In order to awaken, you need to awaken from that ignorance, from the belief that you are a person. In order to awaken from the belief that you are a person, you need to look at it.
Yeah.
On what basis are you a person? And I'm not saying you're not a person. Right now, I'm not saying that. I've said it many times, but right now I'm not saying that. I'm saying, on what basis are you a person? When you ask yourself this question,
just thoughts, I suppose.
So a thought, so you're a person because there are thoughts?
No, I mean, it's just thought that tells me I'm a person. You know, it's...
The thought says I'm a person.
Yeah, the thought mixed with a sense and feelings.
Yeah, the thought and the feeling.
Come together and pretend it's a person.
Yes. Right. But a thought can say I'm a person. The other day, that's not what I'm saying. Somebody can come and say, you're the biggest stupid person in the world. That doesn't mean that I am. I don't have to believe them, you see. So there is a thought and there's believing the thought. So the thought says I'm a person, but I don't believe that. And the reason why I don't believe that is because I've seen that the earth is not flat. I've understood I've understood what Pythagoras was saying. I've understood that I cannot be a person because I'm consciousness, and consciousness has no borders. while a person has borders,
Mm.
has edges, has limits. But consciousness, which is undeniable, I see, I understand Pythagoras. I understand the Dharma. So because I have an understanding of the Dharma, I have a tool that's available to me, which is consciousness. That whenever the thought arises that says I'm a person, I can see how ridiculous that is.
Yeah.
That in fact, it's how ridiculous it is for me to believe that thought. The thought may arise, but it would be going against my understanding to say, yes, I am a person. Once you see
I
that,
don't have any thoughts that I'm a person, and I thought I did understand that I'm consciousness, but I still do have all those thoughts of like, I'm going to do this or I'm going to do that.
Of course, because the human organism, thought is part of it's like part of the weather. Thoughts are it's part of the manifestation. It's part of the human the human expression.
Right.
That is not part of ignorance. Without thoughts, you would not know how to distinguish between a potato and a rock.
So even when you know your consciousness, even when the separate self has dropped, or you know you're not a separate self, you would still have the I thought.
As long as there is you will still have, there will still be thoughts.
Right, but not I thoughts.
But no, the I thought refers to the ignorance that I am a person.
Right.
That's how I use the term, the I thought.
I see.
I thought is different from I consciousness.
Right.
Right? That's how I use
it.
Yes.
Right? So all those would just go if the full understanding that your consciousness was there.
Or when it arises, you don't pursue it. You see it. You're not going to ride that wild horse. You may find the wild horse arising. You may find yourself in the saddle, but very, very quickly you get off it. You don't pursue the me thought, the I thought, which basically is always saying, I am incomplete and I will become complete if and when I am
And
unhappy.
what do you mean by you don't pursue it?
Okay, so the thought arises that, some judgment about myself. Really, I'm a bad so-and-so or a good so-and-so.
I understand that. I don't pursue those.
Or about another.
I don't.
Gee, I should have done this.
Yeah, I don't really have a problem with that.
Or why is this happening to me? Why is this happening to me?
Yeah. I recognize those.
Gee, I wish things were different. They should have been different. I mean, how come this is happening to me? I thought is always unhappiness in it.
So the ones where you're just going to go and do something, or it's a good idea, is okay.
Absolutely. When you are tired, it makes sense to go to sleep. When you're hungry, to eat. When you're thinking of your neighbor or your niece, and you feel like calling them, call them. It's.
So the fact that it's got an I in it doesn't matter. I'm going to do this, or it'd be a good idea to do that.
I is consciousness.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
When we say I, what are we referring to? Either we're referring to the reality, something real, which we call I, or we're referring to Santa Claus. So when I'm saying I, because I'm more interested in having a real conversation with you, not speaking in my own head. I'm imagining somebody that I'm talking with. So always by I, either I is real or I is illusory. If I
And you're
is
talking
illusory,
about I that comes, the me I, let's say, it comes with a negative connotation.
yeah, if I have an image about you or an image about myself, oh, I'm a great teacher, I'm so and so, and you are blah blah blah, then then there is no
Seems to
conversation.
me,
Really, I'm
yeah.
just conversing with my own image.
Yeah, I see
And
what you mean
it will
now,
all be
yeah.
false. It will be false. We will feel the falsehood of that. And
Yeah.
we could say that 99% of the world is living like this.
Yeah.
Nick, I received your question. I'll come to it in a minute.
Okay. That's
So,
great. Now I understand now. Yeah. Like that's cleared it up. Thank you.
yeah.
It's really good. Yeah.
There is an ease of being to consciousness.
Yeah, I was just getting confused because my thoughts have I in them, but there are just some like neutral I thoughts. And then there are others, like you say, when it's a judgment about me or a regret or it's those sort of I thoughts that are the infected ones.
Yeah, just keep noticing whenever, that by I, what do you mean by I? When you say I, what do you mean by I? And usually we say I all the time because deep down we know we are consciousness.
Right.
But then the I is hijacked by, me and him, me and her.
Yeah.
Gets hijacked by the belief that I refers to something that is good or bad.
Yeah.
Continuation from Nick. Okay, Nick, I get to it.
Yeah, that really clarifies it. That's something that's been kind of confusing me for a while, but it really clarifies it now.
Yes. I of consciousness is beyond good or bad. It is absolute.
Yeah.
Like a child, a child walks in, may take some piece of grass and put it in their mouth. There's a childlike quality there. And we say, oh, no, don't do that. But they have a certain innocence to them. And they may go to somebody they don't know and hold their hand or pull their pants, or they may play with somebody else's toys because they don't have yet the separate me, you see.
Yes.
But yet they're talking and playing and acting, but we teach them, to respect other people's, which makes sense, anyways, yes, I think you got it.
I mean, you can leave that question that I wrote to you if you want to, because you just spent a lot of time on that one.
Okay, I'll come to it, in a minute. Let me go to Nick. You write, hi, Magdi. When I look, I know that I'm not the voice in the head. However, this knowing doesn't last. And I eventually get identified again with the voice in the head, I guess. How not to fall back and how not to flow in the mind stream. I can't seem to stay with the unknown. Mind's habit to cling and label is quite strong. Why does the attention move? And how to stop it from moving? Nick, it's good that you know already that you are not the voice in the head, meaning the person, the me, this image, this idea, this. When you say this knowing doesn't last and you get identified again, and how not to fall back. I can't seem to stay with the unknown. Nick, you need to contemplate that the I, the true I that is consciousness, is the reality that perceives this perception right now. Whatever it is that perceives this perception right now, we refer to as I. We also refer to it as consciousness. This I, that is consciousness, is not phenomenal. It has no age, no height, no size, no color, no form, but it's undeniable. So by I, we refer to the reality that perceives this perception that is undeniable, and yet it is not phenomenal, meaning it cannot be hurt, it cannot be improved, it cannot be torn, it cannot be destroyed. And the I that is trying to improve, I that is trying to awaken, is not the real I. There is only one I, there's only one reality, there's only one consciousness, and that is already awakened. It's already free, it's already joyful. Now, when you have been walking in the forest on a trail, that trail, because you walk on it back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, that trail is well defined in the forest. And when you stop walking on the trail, that trail, although you stopped walking on it, is still there. Even if you stop walking on the trail for a week, the trail is still there. Even if you stop walking on this trail for a month, the trail is still there. When you stop walking on the trail for 3 months, the trail is still there, but is some weeds and plants and have started to grow on that trail. Some branches have fallen on the trail. Maybe some animals have burrowed a hole and built a little den on the trail. And soon enough, as long as you're not going back and forth on that trail, soon enough, there will be no longer a trail. I remember I used to live, in southern Maryland, and I lived by 12 acres of beautiful woods. Actually, it was much more than 12 acres. The lot that I lived on was 12, but there were like hundreds of acres around. And I started to do a trail. I took my chainsaw and shovel and pick and whatever, and over time I did a trail. But because out here the season, trail walking season, is not, at least there are winters and rains and so on. Every year I had to go and work on the trail to keep the trail open. And I left, and then when I came back after a little while, a few years, I couldn't find a trail. There were all sorts of growth and trees and things that had... what I'm trying to say in this metaphor, Nick, is that the tendencies in the mind to refer to I as Nick, I as this person, I as this man, I as this body, I as this bundle of images, I as these feelings. That tendency is very strong in the mind, but it's also in the body. We feel like I'm Nick. We feel like I'm this person. Even when you start to understand that you are not the images that are arising, you are not the little voice in your head, even when you understand that, which is very good. It's an understanding that's very important, that you are consciousness, not just that you are not the voice in your head. It's important to understand that you are consciousness, that awareness is real. You see, it's really important that you contemplate that consciousness is real. There is a reality right now that perceives this perception. But even when it becomes clear to you that you are this reality, that there is a reality and that I am this consciousness, at the body level, there's still feelings of being a person. There are still me feelings, me sensations within the body. And it takes a little while for them to release out of the body. What matters is that you continue your inquiry, you continue to return as frequently as you can in your life and in your moments of stillness, in moments of contemplation. Keep returning to I am consciousness, that I am this reality, and that consciousness is not personal. How could it be personal if consciousness is non-phenomenal? The personal is phenomenal, the body is phenomenal. But consciousness is non-phenomenal. How could it be personal? It has no shape, no size, no borders, no beginning, no end. To keep coming back to this contemplation. And within your body, when the me feelings arises, rather than struggling against them, invite them to dissolve in the space. Because there is infinite space. Infinite space. It's all space. Space meaning the space of consciousness. Not the physical space. The space of consciousness. Invite whatever sensations arise in your body to just dissolve in the space. But I would say for now, very important for you to keep contemplating that you are, that by I, you're referring to consciousness and that consciousness is real. And to realize that even with that understanding, the journey is well underway, but there's still a little stretch more to go. Do not judge yourself. Don't put yourself down. Don't play the success and failure game, because that maintains the voice in your head. Don't argue with the voice in your head. Allow it to be like the weather. Don't follow that, the me, the I, Nick the person, because that voice that's speaking about the past and the future is illusion. Follow your inner instinct. Follow your inner insight. And not the story, the Nick story, the me story. Initially, the road is a little bit bumpy, but the bumps become less and less. And less and less frequent. Don't forget that the label, whatever the mind labels, which sometimes is useful. But don't label yourself. You can label the tree, the oak tree, the pine tree, the holly tree. That's not a problem. Just don't label yourself, and don't label others. And attention, if attention moves and you say, why does attention move and how to stop it from moving? Why? Why do you want attention? I wouldn't. When I want to cook, I have to turn my attention on the ingredients that I have to turn my attention on the soup. When I'm writing an email, I have to turn my attention on what I'm trying to say. When I'm driving, I have to turn my attention on the road. So the attention moves as it needs to move, because it's required to move. So don't make an issue of the attention moving. What you need to turn you is not to mistake yourself to be somebody, to be a person. When the attention goes to me, the person, which means past and future, because the person is a series of thoughts which requires memory, and it has within thought me as past me and future me. At that point, you can wonder, wait a minute, how does thought know me? Because thought is saying something about you. But thought doesn't know you. You are the knower. You meaning consciousness, not you, Nick. The reality that perceives is the I, and it has no name. Nick, you're right. Thanks a lot, Magdi. The I that is trying to awaken is not the real I. Invite the me feeling to dissolve in definite space. Yes, beautiful. Feeling the space, listening to you. Thank you. Very nice. Okay, I'm glad. Hello, Isaac. Isaac, you're right. Magdi, when unconscious appearances as rage and its violence bring suffering. Could you comment on this? So, rage and violence are how in negative emotion is expressing itself. It may express itself in rage, or it may express itself in violence, or many other ways. When the negative emotion is expressing itself as violence or rage, it's like when you're boiling water, the bubbles come up and the bubble pops. When the bubble is popping, there isn't much to do, Isaac. It's just popping. But now that you are asking this question, you can look at, after the fact, at this process. The violence or rage are a result of a negative emotion. So we need to look at what is a negative emotion to understand. We need to understand before the rage, before the violence, what was going on. So something was upsetting us. And the only way for something to upset us is if we want it to be different. somebody comes and insults you, and it upsets you. You punch him in the nose. Somebody comes and insults you, and it doesn't upset you. You don't punch him in the nose. The insult was the same insult. One insult touched a target. Another insult, the same insult, didn't touch any target. What was the target that got touched? There is something that was touched. Now, let's say that there was something that was touched, and we don't care about it being touched or not. When there is something that is touched and we don't care whether it's been touched or not, in fact, it means there was nothing that was touched. When something is touched and we care about it not being touched, that means there is something that was touched. So in fact, that something that was touched only refers to not wanting something to be touched, not wanting, defending something. What is the something that we're defending? It's a good question, because we are experiencing the negative emotion. We're experiencing the effect of the negative emotion, which is rage or violence. But before even we go to the rage and the violence, we're already miserable because we're experiencing the negative emotion. And we usually, when we experience negative emotion and we go to the rage and the violence, we're only going to the rage and the violence to get rid of the negative emotion. But it doesn't work, because when we do rage or violence, when we engage in rage or violence, things worsen. It becomes worse. We feel worse, and the other person or whoever is subject to our rage is also going to feel really bad. And now we have double trouble. We're more unhappy than we were a minute before. It all comes down to something being touched. What is this something? It is me. You insulted me. How dare you insult me? What is this me? Is it not an image, an idea, a belief, a feeling you have about yourself? But it's not the real I. It's not truly what you are. It's like you have an image that you're trying to protect the image. You cannot protect an image. You cannot protect an image from everybody. Somebody is not gonna like the image. Even Picasso, or even Rembrandt, or even Renoir, even some of the greatest Monet. Some people, I'm sure there are some people who don't like them. So the image cannot please everybody. Sooner or later, you're gonna have to defend it. But why go through the trouble of defending your image or maintaining your image? It's a lot of work to maintain your image. What you truly are is not an image. Is not something you need to defend. Consciousness is the reality of being. Is not an image. And there isn't any personal concern or self-concern. You need to look at what you are defending and what you are identifying yourself to be, Isaac. because love and beauty is not defined, it's just appreciated. It's celebrated, it's not defined, you see. You cannot define art, you cannot define beauty. You can enjoy it, you can recognize it, you can celebrate it, but you can't define it. So don't define yourself. Be watchful of how you are defining yourself, if you are defining yourself. And how you're defining others, because we do that too. We project onto others our own ideas. And if there is rage and violence, you can apologize if there is room for apology, or you can, okay, let it go. It's behind you now. Always remain fresh. Remain as the freshness of being. Don't carry the past with you, because the past is just illusion, just a series of images and feelings. You don't want to anchor them in your being. Go remain like an open space. And of course, if there is opportunity to apologize to somebody, you can apologize to somebody. By the way, a reminder that the Costa Rica retreat is October 27. Oh goodness, that's pretty soon. To November 1st. If people are still interested in attending. Okay, thank you. Zoe. Oh, Zoe. Oh, yes, Zoe is not here. Hello, Zoe. So you write, hi, Magdi, I am packing and moving. Okay, looking through old photos, and I'm noticing some resistance to throwing away old images. I know they aren't real, and why carry old images? Yes. Okay, Zoe. Good luck with your packing and moving. Well, it's 6:30. There are a couple more questions, and so let me just see if there are any questions here in the group.
Hi, Magdi.
Hello, Holly.
Hi there.
Hello.
I over the past week or two have been with greater frequency turning towards and experiencing the unchanging. And at this time, I don't know if this is the part I want to ask about, but I am coming back to that again and again, to being I feel like I'm pointing towards the unchanging, and it feels I'm experiencing it as predominantly I'm more able to experience it as a field behind me and expanding outward.
Mm-hmm.
So I just wanted to check in on on that.
Yes, yes. So, without interfering with your experience of openness that's sort of behind you and expanding outwards, just invite this openness, this limitless, this formless field to permeate the entire experience, to permeate the field also in front of you and beyond
Okay.
just what you're perceiving, just to sort of allow it to also expand in a spherical form, in a spherical way, without limits, just an ongoing expansion of that field. So invite this field to permeate everything, so that everything that you're perceiving is imbued with that quality, this spacious-like quality.
Yeah.
Like a sphere, but without a center. There is no center.
Mm.
It's all. It's expanding, infinite radius, but no center. Yeah.
Yeah.
And whatever sensation you experience, invite it to that. Invite it to that expansion, to that spaciousness. In your body, invite your entire body to be and to merge with that
Mm.
formless expansion that has no center, no limit. Consciousness is universal, meaning is non-local. So reality permeates everything. It's not local. And I is that non-local vastness. We breathe it, we are it. And it's all embracing. Okay,
Thank you.
everyone. Thank you all for your love and beauty. Namaste.
Namaste.